At Fishing 411 TV, we've been blessed to share the boat with a lot of talented fishermen. When it comes to jig fishing the Detroit River, we've witnessed greatness countless times from a humble Detroit native named Rob Jones. Rob Jones, also known as the Deacon Smash Master, is a deacon of his local church who doubles as a walleye fishing superhero. Jake Romanack teams up with this family friend and walleye pro Rob Jones to better help anglers understand the finer points associated with jig fishing the Detroit River. No walleye is safe so long as these two are on the prowl, jig sticks in hand.
Hooked up, Deke. It's a good sign when you get out here early in the morning and you drop to the bottom and you jig about 4 times and you get bit. You know it's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day.
Are going to have a good day. I'm going to throw this guy back, just a little guy here. But we're out on the Detroit River. It is first light. In fact, the sun isn't even up yet. But we wanted to get a nice early start this morning. And Rob and I came out yesterday and we got on a really good bite. So I think we're going to have a ton of fun out here on the Detroit River today.
Oh, baby. He wanted it. This might be a smallmouth. Oh, no, it's a walleye.
That's a nice walleye.
Yes, sir.
Go, buddy.
The sun isn't up yet. It's still early morning. So instead of being out in the deep water, we came into the skinny water, like anywhere from 15 to maybe 20 feet. All night long, those fish been up there feeding up in the shallows all night. Later on, they'll slide down into the deep water where they'll spend the rest of the day. But we're going to focus on maybe 15 to 19, 20 feet of water to get those fish that's feeding right now. That's a nice fish.
There's one. I'm trying to catch all the fish, Deke. This is a pretty good one. It's not a bad fish at all. This water's cleaning up nicely. Oh! It's not a bad fish. Now we're going to catch some bigger fish than that one today, but that's a really nice Detroit River walleye right there. And we kind of have a perfect storm going on. Over the last week or so, we've had a lot of wind, and that wind created muddy water. And when you get muddy water, it makes conditions for jigging very difficult. But as that river starts to clean up, and you get that window where that water is really milky, it's not dirty, and it's not necessarily clean, that is ideal for vertical jigging, and that's exactly what we have right now. So we're going to catch a pile of fish like this today. You know, it's late in the spring. We're in that May time frame now, and so we're going to catch a pile of fish. When you look at the Detroit River, you're going to look at numbers later in the year and bigger fish early in the year, but there's still some nice fish in this river system.
When the wind blows, we get a northeast blow. It dirties this water up a lot. Well, just missed one. And the jigging bite gets real scarce. So then you have to hand line. But as soon as that water starts to clean up and you get that milky color to it, the fish are hungry. They haven't eaten in a while, and the bite just is unbelievable. It gets really good. And it's so funny that when that happens, that's a big fish time. That's when you usually catch a lot of bigger fish. When it goes from dirty to clean, it's a big fish bite then. After it cleans up and the water gets real clean, then you catch a lot of smaller fish. I can't answer why, but that's just the way it happens.
I wasn't paying attention. I was making fun of Rob. But there's fish right under the boat. That one just smoked it.
I want a big one.
Yeah, me too. That's the one thing about river fishing is we fished here the day before. In fact, yesterday afternoon we were out here fishing. We caught a lot of really nice fish. But these fish are constantly moving. This is a river environment. And so because you caught them here in this spot yesterday doesn't necessarily mean that those big fish are going to be there the next morning. So we're going to do some moving. I'm sure that we'll see a lot of the river today, and eventually we'll get on some better fish. There's a pile of fish right here where we first started, but they're all this eater class fish, and that's really not what we're looking for. We'd like to get a couple better fish today.
Special considerations are provided by Cisco Fishing Systems and Striker brands. Go early, go late, go prepared. Special considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics and Daiwa Corporation.
Ooh, feels good.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't feel like a walleye. It feels like a sucker. Oh my goodness.
Jeez. Got me thinking it wasn't a good one. I think that's a good fish. How's that?
Saved by the net.
How's that for time?
Saved by the net. Yes. Finally got a good one, Jake.
Well, the whole time you're like, it ain't a walleye. It's not a walleye. And then I look over and it's beautiful walleye. It's running for the net as fast as I could.
Finally got on the better fish. She smoked it too. What do you think about that one?
That's a really nice fish.
It's a nice fish.
It'd be nice to catch a handful of those today.
I think we will.
I mean, it's late enough in May that most of these fish have spawned. I mean, the majority of these fish in the river have spawned. And so we're really just catching the females that haven't gone back out to the lake yet. They're chilling out in the river. And after they spawn, that's when they put the feed bag on. So I think we'll catch quite a few of that size fish today. That bite was a little bit different. It's just kind of that up bite. Basically, I lifted up and there was weight. And then I got me a little cheapie.
That's a smallmouth.
Oh, is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's a big smallmouth.
Ooh, it's a big smallmouth.
I just saw it around and assumed it was a sheepie. That is a big smallie. Ooh, I'll swing him over to you here, Deke. He does not like the boat.
Oh,
that's a big smallmouth. That's
a big smallmouth.
Well, that's definitely not what we're looking for, but I am never going to complain when a smallmouth like that comes into the boat. You know, what I was talking about when I was fighting that fish is there's two types of bites you get when you're jigging. Basically, you'll get that tunk in the line, and everybody knows that bite, right? It's very easy to know when you have that bite. But the secondary bite is when you drop that jig on slack line, and that fish bites it as it's going down. When you lift up, you feel weight. Now, that's the more difficult of the two bites to discern. Sometimes you'll think it's bottom, but the one thing you got to remember when you're vertical jigging is anytime you feel any type of weight, set the hook. Hook sets are free. Sometimes it'll be the bottom, but a lot of times the fish that picked it up as that jig was dropping back to the bottom.
This one popped it on the way down. I felt it thump the first time and missed him and dropped it right back down there. Jigged it one time. Pow. Look what we got. Another sandwich. Sandwiches are good.
So this vertical jigging is very much about plastics. There's so many different types of plastics to fish when you come out here to the Detroit River. But we can categorize it down to try to simplify it for you into basically a split style tail, a split finesse minnow, a paddle tail, or even just like a worm style of plastic. And I got a whole bunch of them laid out here, a bunch of different colors. You know, one of the things we always preach is that I think that color refines the presentation. That might not necessarily be true when it comes to vertical jigging. A lot of times color is extremely important, but a lot of times it's those little things like color more than it is the actual presentation itself. And so right here I have a paddle tail, and this is a really good style. It's a ripple shad, a Berkeley ripple shad, a really good bait for the Detroit River. It's got a little bit more thump, a little bit more vibration. When I'm thinking of a paddle tail, I normally think of a little bit warmer water and a little bit more aggressive fish. A finesse minnow is by far the most popular style of plastics. Right here I have one. You see it's just got that V split tail, a little bit more of a neutral type presentation where you can fish it slow or you can fish it fast. And the other thing that's really popular is a worm style plastic. This one right here is called the Wyandotte worm, super popular here on the Detroit River, and it's just a long skinny piece of plastic. Again, more of a neutral presentation. You can fish it very slow or you can kind of pop that jig and fish it more aggressively. Again, these come in a million different colors too. But when it comes to color, kind of the rule of thumb in my mind is if the water is clear, I try to go to more natural style colors. If the water is dirty, I go to darker colored baits because it creates more of a shadow and it's more visible. You got to remember, a walleye is sight feeding. If they can't see it, they just simply can't eat it. So if the water's dirty, you want to go to a dark bait, like a black colored bait works really good in dirty water. And as that water starts to clean up, going to those more natural colors are going to catch you a lot of fish.
Special considerations are provided by Precision Trolling Data and the Lake St. Clair Walleye Association. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
You know, fishing scents have become very popular in recent years, but the question becomes, which fishing scents do you use? There's a lot of them out there to choose from. In recent years, we've been using a lot of ProCure Super Gel. The reason we like it is it's sticky. It stays on what you put it on, and the whole point of a fishing scent, if you're going to put it on a lure, you don't want it to wash right off. So we tend to avoid water-soluble products and we choose these ones that are more made out of oily-based materials. And in fact, ProCure is actually made out of actual bait. In the case of the trophy walleye that I have in my hand here, it's made from a combination of different minnows that walleyes commonly feed on. The beauty of this stuff is because it is greasy and it is sticky, it sticks to the lures you put them on. You can put them on your hard baits, like crankbaits, you can put them on spoons, you can put them on your jigs, you can put them on soft plastic, you can even put it on live bait if you want. So if you're looking for an all-purpose walleye scent that works pretty much everywhere you're going to go, Trophy Walleye by ProCure will catch you a lot of fish.
I knew he was down there, Jake. He kept on playing with it, Jake. Yep, he kept playing with it. He hit it like 3 or 4 times. And you see, right in the top of the roof of his mouth, coming out his nostril. And he wanted it. Jake. Jake. Jake got one too. We doubled up, Jake.
It's just been absolutely crazy this morning. About as fast as you can get it down there, you're catching fish. When it comes to picking a jig for this Detroit River style of fishing, one of the things you want to keep in mind is that there really is no such thing as too heavy of a jig. Use as heavy of a jig as you need to feel contact with bottom. Whether that's a 1/2 ounce jig, a 3/4 ounce jig, or a 1 ounce jig is going to be kind of what you want to stock up on. Now, depending on the depth of water, the current, the speed, the wind, that might change from day to day on what size jig that you need. With that 5/8 and 3/4 ounce being kind of your everyday go-to size jig on the Detroit River. One of the things I look for with a lead head jig is I want to have a long shank. I want to make sure that that actual from the eye tie to the hook point, a nice long shank that gets the hook point further back on that piece of plastic and really helps with your hookup percentage. So again, you're looking for that 1/2, 5/8, 3/4, 1 ounce style jig with a longer shank, and that's going to be ideal for the Detroit River.
What I find when I'm jigging on the Detroit River, I'm concentrating on that bottom 3-4 feet of water. So what I like to do is zoom my sonar in on that bottom 3, 4, 5 feet so I can see exactly what's down there. I'm not concerned about what's up high, so I zoom in on that bottom so I can concentrate on the humps and whatever I see down there at the bottom, That's what I concentrate on, that bottom 3 to 5 feet of water. Actually, I'm looking for fish and I'm looking for structure on the bottom, but I'm actually looking for fish. When I make a pass, I stay on my line and I look and see what I see, and if I catch fish on a certain drift, I follow that same line back. After I get off of those, I make a couple passes. If I don't get anything and the fish are still there, I might try it again, but I'll probably move over a little bit and still focus on that bottom. Just remember, everybody want to come to the river and fish the deep water. Remember, slide up in that shallower water, take your time, and you'll catch fish.
There we go.
Good fish, Jake?
Might be a little bit better fish, Rob. Yeah, this fish is very mad. It's a nice fish, too.
I am ready.
Woo! I guess we'll take him over on this side. He wants to come back to this
Yes,
side.
sir.
This fish is charged up.
Oh, yes.
Hooked a little funny, that's okay. You see that jig actually just kind of came around and hooked him on the side there, but stinger hook is what got that fish. I'm going to swing him around a little bit prettier on that side. That's a really nice fish. He was pulling really hard and I couldn't figure out why, but it's because that jig had swung around and caught him. But that stinger hook is so important because you want to be able to have that right here. A lot of times, like I would say probably 80+% of your fish you catch on the river are going to come on that stinger hook. When they're biting really good, they'll suck the whole jig in, but we're fishing heavy jigs, anywhere from 3/4 to 1 ounce jig. A lot of times those fish will eat it, but they don't have the energy to suck that big heavy weight all the way in their mouth, and that's where that stinger hook is going to get those fish for you.
Special considerations provided by Bill Lewis Lures. Special considerations are provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait sense.
Oh, there's one. Oh, it feels pretty good.
What you got going there, Jake?
Well, I literally missed that fish, Rob. I was kind of pouting about it, dropped right back down, and he smacked it.
Smoked it.
Let's see here. Oh, this is a good fish, Rob. This is a real good one. Woo! Let's see. Man, they're spunky this time of year, aren't they? This warmer water. Here we go. Nice fish.
Nice fish, Jake.
Well, that is a lot nicer fish right there. You know, maybe these bigger fish just need a little bit this morning to wake up, Rob.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's a little bit later in the morning and we're getting a little bit better quality fish. We had numbers first thing in the morning. And now we're getting a little bit better fish here. We've moved around a little bit, but not much. We've basically been running the same drift, and what we've been doing is kind of sliding up a little bit shallower, sliding up a little bit deeper, back and forth, trying to figure out where these little bit bigger fish are. And that right there is a good Detroit River walleye.
That's a nice fish right there, Jake. Well, Jake, I swim that one up, and he sucked.
Ooh, that's a good fish too, Rob.
Oh, nice one, Jake. Nice one, buddy.
That's a really good fish. Nice. Good
Yes,
job,
sir.
buddy. That is a good fish.
Yes, sir. Well, you said if we keep on, we get into some better fish.
They just had to wake up. They
Had to wake up. They didn't want to wake. Yeah, we woke up pretty early. That's a good fish right there. That's a good fish. You know, I think in the next year or so, we're gonna have a lot of fish just like this size right here.
I agree.
Yep. Yep, so that's what we're getting back again. Nice fish, man.
If you're looking at coming down to the Detroit River to do some of this vertical jigging, it's really important that you have the right rod, reel, and line set up for this style of fishing. More so than just about any other type of presentation, I feel like the rod and reel and line that you use literally is the makeup of this presentation, vertical jigging. I like to use a little bit stiffer rod, anywhere in that medium heavy size range, depending on the manufacturer of rod that you're using. A size 25 or 2500 size reel, something that's light, because that rod's going to be in your hand all day long. You want to make sure it's comfortable for you, because again, that rod's going to be in your hand all day long. And one of the things that I see with vertical jigging is getting fatigued, where the first couple hours of the day you feel pretty good, now your shoulders start to hurt. You start to get fatigued, and then you miss those bites later in the day. So find something that's very comfortable. And again, that braided line I would say is extremely important too. You want to have a nose stretch and a high vis line. I like to be able to see that line. It makes it easier for staying vertical in our boat control. So a 10-pound test braided line, a medium to medium heavy action rod, teamed up with about a 2500 size spinning reel, is pretty much ideal for coming out here on the Detroit River to catch a pile of walleyes.
The key to catching these walleye on the river is boat control. It's not really hard if you know what to do. One of the things I tell people is to hunt your line. Wherever your line goes, turn the head of the motor to your line and just give it a little bit. Oh, I'm getting bit. Give it a little bit. Oh, I got bit again. Give it a little bit that way and just stay on top of your line. It's not hard. It gets difficult when the wind blows, but on a calm day, it's pretty easy. Just point the head of your motor to wherever your line goes, and it'll keep you pretty vertical.
That's a good one right there.
Oh yeah.
A pair of good ones, Rob.
Double.
We have had just a ton of fun today, Rob. We've caught a pile of these fish.
Pile.
We've caught some nice fish too mixed in, but just an absolute pile of these fish. Man, my arm's getting a little bit sore.
Mine too.
Man, I appreciate you bringing me out to the Detroit River again. You know I always love fishing with Rob Jones. He's so much fun to fish with on this river. My name's Jake Romanack. You've been watching Fishing 4-on-1. We'll see you here same time, same place next week. A couple fish sandwiches, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Closed captioning is provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports company. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Lowrance Electronics, Starcraft Marine, Yamaha Outboards, Yakima Bait Company, Niagara Falls, USA, Smooth Moves, Bill Lewis Lures, and Jay's Sporting Goods.
It's off. I just saw the flash of him. It looked like about 8-9 pounds.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. I tell you one thing.